This episode opens with Prasad arriving at his luxurious tower block home via helicopter. The billionaire's dwellings are fitted with a swanky rooftop swimming pool, lavish, high-tech decor, and an army of employees. Chanda infiltrates the home, hacking all this state-of-the-art technology to wage his own cyber war. He sends all the staff members home, makes the shower unbelievably hot for Prasad, and then causes a petrol leak. Prasad's son then becomes trapped in the rooftop pool, whilst an explosion separates his other family members. In a horrifying setup, Chanda shows the gruesome footage of his brutal operation on the home's television screens and then speaks with his former boss over the phone. Prasad begs for mercy, but Chanda only wants to watch as his nemesis loses everything. The fire in the tower block quickly spreads, and there are to be no survivors from this attack. Pope and Waxman see the disaster on the news and ponder Prasad's back alley uploads. Pope states that Prasad both succeeded and failed with these advances, implying that he is aware of Chanda's vengeful attack. Caspian's narrative continues to develop further also as he shops with his mother Renee after the father's calculated assault. He wants his mom to be protected from further attacks and also financially secure. He gives her with a hefty check, which he states was legitimately earned, and buys her a weapon. Meanwhile, Carrie returns to his employer's secret base for a debriefing. Carrie worries that Renee is completely unstable now, although the bosses seem to think the entire project is on the brink of falling apart anyway. Carrie warns them that Caspian is very close to unraveling the whole mystery. Things are about to go south. In Maddie's world, a teen searches for answers, asking her father David to show her his electronic world. David may be able to play in video games and chat over the phone freely, but his electronic entity is still trapped within the coding. This manifests in the shape of his office, much like Chanda's, where he spends his days. Maddie is shocked by this unfortunate revelation, but is then thrown out of the system. Lori, the rogue UI, being the perpetrator, who then erratically attacks David. Lori blames David for her current situation, believing he purposefully planted a flaw in her coding. She takes David hostage, but he continues to plead his innocence. David says he can fix Lori, who is disintegrating at a rapid speed. Realizing that David cannot leave this office facade, she tries to train him to escape his cage. Emotions are the key, and once he unlocks this power, David is able to break free from this mental torture once and for all. Maddie worries what Lori will do to her dad and contacts Caspian, asking for his help. Caspian admits that he never really knew who Lori was. Maddie tells Caspian that they need to find her, but that they cannot trust her. Maddie explains how Caspian is being watched, and he starts to link everything together. Logarithms, Norway, and uploaded intelligence. He confides in his girlfriend Hannah, telling her that his life doesn't quite feel real anymore. Later, he takes apart his computer and phone, finding a logarithms chip inside both pieces of technology. The teen is rightfully paranoid and rushes to tell his mom of his findings. Cody turns up at Maddie's house, and Ellen is on hand to pepper spray the intruder. After Maddie calms down both of the warring adults, Cody explains that Lori is missing and that she hasn't been acting herself lately. Flashbacks reveal how Lori's mind became uploaded intelligence and how they were able to communicate with each other once she escaped. It's another tale of love somehow finding a way through all these electrical walls back to reality, a theme that solidifies the viewer's engagement. In the final scenes, Cody is about to shut down Lori's servers when they receive a vital message. David wants to meet with Maddie. She puts on a haptic vest and enters the virtual world. Maddie hugs her father for the first time in years. David has become three-dimensional once more. He explains how Lori is decaying at an alarming rate, although he is suffering from a similar virus himself. Caspian drives around searching for his mother and finds her talking in private with Hannah. The two argue, and Hannah confesses that Caspian is questioning his own reality now. Renee is angry that Hannah didn't tell her this sooner and demands that she gets more answers out of him. Caspian realizes what is going on in this crucial moment. Friends and family members are just pawns working towards some higher goal. Who knows what profound effect this realization will have on the teenager? Episode 5 of Pantheon Season 1 is where everything starts to come apart at the seams. David's time is limited, and he blinks out. It seems he's been found, and Maddie is forced to get out before it's too late. Someone has taken the servers offline, and of course that stems back to logarithms. They've just taken control of Eterna. However, they don't have control of Carrie or Caspian. The latter shows up to see Hannah, demanding to know her connection with Renee. After seeing them at the mall last episode, Caspian is a man possessed and eventually gets the truth from her. Hannah reveals that her real name is Rachel, an actor that was recruited by Candle Street, which is a shell company name. She was given $1 million to keep her mouth shut and play up the role of Caspian's partner in this social experiment. It turns out Rachel's mother has cancer, and she's done this to pay for her treatment. Caspian agrees to stay quiet about her part in this, but only if she does exactly what he says. Hannah, Rachel plays her part well, pretending that her meeting with Caspian was just a run-of-the-mill meet with nothing untoward occurring. Caspian listens to the call with Renee the entire time, realizing with despair that his mother is in deep. He also learns that Carrie has gone rogue, shocked that his father isn't the sadistic abuser he was led to believe. The next day, Renee suggests to Caspian that they head up the coast and get away to Santa Barbara. This is, of course, all a ruse, but Caspian plays along all the same. On the way, Caspian notices Renee has taken her gun in case they find Carrie. So naturally, when Renee stops at the gas station, Caspian drops all pretenses and takes control of the car, leaving her high and dry. Meanwhile, Maddie communicates with David as the pair reconvene in the digital world and go over what they've discovered thus far. It seems logarithms have new tracking algorithms in place, and they're covering their tracks too, with no upload files in their main HQ depicting the surgery or the awful experiments they're conducting. Maddie immediately thinks outside the box, though, bringing up a remote location, namely that of Norway, where logarithms are operating. David uses his technical know-how to hack into Pope's satellite phone, downloading an echolocation in order to get a scope of the facility. It's basically a massive server point, but David decides to drain Pope's battery completely remotely to find out where the charge point is. Using the phone's vibration function, David moves it across the desk to a nearby laptop, which inevitably allows Lori access to download the project files. This seems to do the trick, giving both Lori and David access to the mainframe of the laptop and the files within. As they begin digging into the files, they realize there's another inside the computer, Vinod Chandra. With the project files being downloaded, Pope is informed of what's going on, but it seems he knows. In fact, he's in collusion with Waxman, who's watching the hack from his computer. The pair decide to work together and trace the origin point back to Maddie's place. They assemble a team and move on their location. Their cover is blown, or is it? Waxman's team show up at the complete wrong location, confirming David's ruse as Pope finally understands his phone has been hacked. While this is going on, David finds the project files on Caspian, who could well solve the flaws in the system given his brilliance. As for Caspian, he returns home to find Carrie there wanting to talk. He admits that Caspian was created from Steven's genome, and he is basically Steven's perfect clone, the one designed to take over the man's legacy. Holstrom never uploaded because he realized the system hadn't been perfected yet. When Caspian leaves, he finds Renee there waiting. She keeps up her charade, but Carrie breaks it completely, admitting that he's told their son everything. Renee shoots Carrie, but before he can bleed out, Caspian takes off with him in the car. In episode 6, after witnessing his fake mother shoot his fake father, Caspian drives off with Carrie bleeding to death on the back seat. Carrie stresses that Caspian must avoid any and all hospitals, or else logarithms will surely find them. It would seem they cannot trust a single soul. Carrie explains that through all of Caspian's life, he believed in the mission and in Holstrom's vision, but when it came to leaving Caspian and implementing the final inflection point, he had a change of heart. Carrie connected with his fake son on a deeper level and lost all interest in the program as time went on. Unfortunately, Carrie passes out before saying anything more on the matter. Meanwhile, Lori begins to glitch more regularly and loses some of her short-term memory. With time running out, they decide to research Chanda and bring Caspian into the mix. They debate the serious ramifications of bringing both of these controversial individuals on board, pitching more and more drastic possibilities instead. David and Lori mention another alternative, merging 2 or possibly 3 uploaded minds to create an entirely new consciousness. Before this alternative can be given any real analysis, Caspian interrupts, contacting Maddie via her school friend Justine. Caspian has nowhere else to turn and reaches out to Maddie as these 2 storylines finally converge. Kobe offers to take Carrie to the hospital anonymously, while Caspian heads home with Ellen and Maddie. Here he enters the VR world and talks with David and Lori for the first time face-to-face. Holstrom cloned himself to give the planet a second chance at fixing the UI flaw, but Caspian is completely overwhelmed by all this pressure. He eventually comes around to the idea and begins to analyze the data. He realizes that the defect is caused by a memory problem. He suggests rotating the memories instead of deleting them. Before he can elaborate, Chanda arrives unceremoniously upon the scene. Chanda, the third known UI, seems to have shifted into villain territory, and you must be Caspian. He plans on making his own world for all the UIs and lives with the other zombie glitches at a decidedly ominous-looking lair. When he arrives at David's location, he puts on a show, pretending to be aggressive and violent. In private, he tells David and Lori this is all an act for the Pentagon, but as time moves on, his true intentions come to the forefront. Living in solitary confinement for all that time has slowly driven Chanda crazy. He defends his murderous actions, stating that he had anger problems in the real world, and now he has no way of releasing his built-up tension in the cyber world. Chanda replays them the footage of his horrific death and then updates them on Prasad's diabolical scheme, in which he used people from the slums to experiment upon. Once Chanda is informed of the UI's deadly defect, his real emotions start to show. Chanda panics and lets slip that he has passed on the UI technology to all the top minds in the world. He has informed global institutes from the likes of NASA to the Kremlin to the Middle East of this discovery, unwittingly starting an arms race in the process. Chanda says that we are gods, but David counteracts this by adding that we are gods that will soon die. Seeing that an unfortunate end to the entire human race is on the cards, Caspian drives off, telling Maddie that he's going to try and enjoy the rest of his short life before humanity destroys itself. Chanda has really opened up Pandora's box with this revelation, now that all the major institutes in the world have the same unstoppable power in their grasp.